In this video, I'm going to discuss the second component of the control structures, that is iterative statements, or in other words, we call loops. Loops, right? Okay. A loop allows us to execute a statement or group of statements in multiple times, right? That means we can repeat a set of statements or a group of statements multiple times, so we can repeat, right? So a loop is used to repeat a block of code until the specified condition is met, right? So we can define a particular condition, so until that condition is satisfied or until that condition is met, we can repeat a block of codes, right? So in C programming there are three repetitive structure, so we call three loops, right? So first one is for loop, and then second one is while loop, third one is do while loop, right? So let's see how to use those loops one by one, right? So okay, for loop, right? The first one is for loop. So actually in for loop, execute a sequence of statements in multiple times, right? So we can execute a set of statements in multiple times, right? So this is the syntax for the for loop, right? So for, and then within a round bracket, so this is first one is initialization statement, so we have to initialize the loop by using variable, and then here we can use we have to put the test expression, right? So after the initialization statement we have to put the semicolon, right? And then we can have a test expression, then semicolon, then we have to update the statement, right? So let's see the example, then you will realize this. And then so this is the set of statements, right? So actually those statements should be inside the block of this open and close curly brackets. So we call this is one particular block. All right. So this is a block of statements or set of statements inside the for block. Right. So inside the for loop. Right. So we call these are the statements inside the body of the loop. Right. So that body or that block is represented by opening and closing curly brackets. All right. So the initialization statement is execute only once, right? So that is this statement is execute at once, right? So there is only one execution for the initialization statement, so that is the first statement which is executed inside the for loop, right? So then the text expression is evaluated, right? So after execution of this initialization statement, so it will move to the test expression, right? That expression is evaluated, that means that condition is checked, all right? So if it is true, right, so if the test expression is true, then the statements inside the body of the for loop are executed, right? Or we call body of the for loop is executed, right? And then it will update the statement, and then it will move to the update statement, right? That means the update expression is updated, right? So then again they evaluate the test expression, right? Again test expression is evaluated, right? So if it is false, so if it is true, again body of the for loop is executed. So once if it is false, then for loop is terminated, right? So if it is true, then block of statement or the body of the for loop is executed. So if it is false, for loop is terminated, right? So whether it's going to go inside the for loop or whether it's go to the outside the for loop is depend on the test expression, right? So after evaluation of the text expression, the loop will decide whether the body of the for loop is executed or exit from the for loop, or we call terminate of the for loop, right? So this is the relevant flow chart, right? So starting the for loop by using this initialization expression, and then move to the text expression, right? So then this expression is evaluated. So if it is true, it will move to the body of the for loop, or it will move to the block of this for loop, right? So if it is true, the body of the for loop is executed, and then go to the update expression. After the update expression, it will go to the text expression again. So that's why we call this is loop, starting from the test expression. Actually, loop is starting from the initialization expression and go to the test expression. After evaluation of test expression, it will go, if it is true, it will go to the body of the for loop and then update the expression. After updating the expression, it will move to the test expression again, right? Test expression again, and then if it is true, again go to the body of the for loop and then update expression and move to the test expression. If it is false, so if it is false, then it will exit from the for loop, or we call it will terminate the for loop, right? Or the for loop is terminated, right? So that's what the execution procedure of the for loop. So let's take one example. So this is my first example, right? So actually this example is used to print integer numbers from 1 to 5, right? Display integers from 1 to 5, right? So here I use the for loop, right? So as you know, once if you declare the variable, it will be allocate a particular memory space from the main memory, right? So like this. So this is the main memory, right? So in computer we use the RAM as the main memory. So in here I declare a variable called count, and then the number 1 is assigned to the variable called count, so which is integer variable, right? So once if we declare the integer variable called count, right, so it will be allocate a particular memory space from the main memory like this, right? So this is RAM, and then this memory location is labeled by the variable name called count, right? So once if you assign a number 1, right, so this memory cell will contain the number 1, right? So this is the first statement which will be executed in for loop, right? So that is number 1 is assigned to the variable called count, right? So number 1 is assigned to the variable called count, right? So you can see in main memory, so there will be a memory cell which is labeled by count, right? And then the number 1 is inside the that variable called count, right? So after execution the initialization statement, it will move to the test expression. So this is my test expression. So my text expression is count less than or equal 5, right? Then it will move to the test expression, then this will be evaluated, right? So 1 less than or equal 5, right? 1 less than or equal 5. So after evaluation of 1 less than or equal 5, you know, so in here 1 is less than number 5, right? So here 1 is less than number 5, 1 is less than number 5, then this is true, this is true, therefore it will enter inside the for loop, or it will be entered to the body of the for loop, and then there are some statements inside the for loop. Those statements are executed and then move to the this update statement. So right now we have number 1 inside the variable called count. So you know this is a increment statement. So this is called, say now we have variable called say count, and then we can add a 1 to the variable count and then assign to the same variable called count. So this is represent, actually this is represent this particular expression, count plus 1 assigned to the same variable called count, right? So that is the value which is in count increment by 1, or in other words we can say we can add 1 to the variable count, right? So currently variable count contain the number 1, that is 1 add by 1 then assigned to the variable count. So this is execute from right to left like this, then count already contain the value 1 and then add 1 to the count which is 2, then 2 is assigned to the variable count, right? So after execution of this update statement, so count will be updated as 2, and then move to the text expression, right? So in the second time the expression is 2 less than 5, less than or equal 5, right? So this is also true, therefore again the execution is moved to the for loop body, or body of the for loop. Then here there are two statements, those statements are executed, right? And then again move to the update statement, right? So currently the count variable contain the value 2, value 2. Then this 2 will be updated as 3, or in other words we can say 2 will be increment by 1, which is 3, after execution of this update statement. And then go to this expression, that is 3 3 less than 5, 3 less than 5, right? So that is true, that is true, therefore again enter into the for loop, right? So after enter the for loop, these statements are executed, and then move to the update statement, right? So currently the variable count contained value 3, which will be updated as 4, or 4, that is number 3 is increment by 1, right? And then it will be 4. Then go to the evaluation statement, that is 4 less than or equal 5, 4 less than or equal 5, right? So after evaluation of this expression, or this test expression, that is true, then again move to the of inside the for loop, right? So and then these two statements are executed, or it may be not two, there may be any number of statements. So number of statements which are inside the for loop body will be executed, and then move to the update statement, right? So right now we have a number 4 inside the variable count, then which will be updated as 5 after execution of this updating statement. And then evaluate 5 less than or equal 5, 5 of less than or equal 5. So that is also true, because the equal is there, 5 is equal to 5. Then go inside the for loop, then these statements are executed, and move to the update statement. Right now the variable count contain number 5, and then so this is update statement, 5 plus 1, or 5 increment by 1, which is 6, right? So now the variable count contains value number 6, right? Then move to the update statement, right? So that is 6 less than or equal 5. Now we know this is false, right? Now this is false, so therefore it will be exit from the for loop, or in other words we can say for loop is terminated, for loop is terminated, right? So this is how for loop is execution, right? So this is how for loop is execution, all right? So now let's see the example, proper example, by using the numbers, right? So this is example, right? So now actually it's better to move from exit from the okay, so right now start, right? It, right? So I'll start at the beginning, right? So I'll start at the beginning, right? So here so this so assume this is integer variable, a is 1, and then this is my expression, a less than this test expression, a less than or equal not the equal, a less than 5, and this is the update statement, a increment by 1, right? So this is the body of the for loop, that is print value a, right? Print value a. So initially a is 1, right? So now a is 1, and then this text expression, right? A less than 5, that is true, and therefore this will be executed, and update, that is 2, 2 less than 5, that is true, therefore print 2, update, that is 3, and 3 less than 5, true, therefore this is executed, and then update 4, 4 less than 5, that is true, therefore this is update, this is execute, and then update 5, 5 less than 5 is false, therefore this is exit, right? So that's how this is execution, right? So you can look at this example, right? So then you will be realize how it is executed, right? So let's see how to insert for loop in our source code. Okay, let's see how to use the for loop inside the C programs, right? So I'll create a new program, right? So I create new program, file, new source, and then first of all uh, I have to include the standard input output file. Say include, right? stdio.h standard input output file. So I save this one as say I have folder called test program, right? So inside there I have already created a subfolder called loop. So this is the first program of the for loop. So by using for loop, so I use say for1.c. So this is how I assign the file name, right? For1.c. So for1.c. So that's my file name. So I save my file like this, right? Okay, and then I start the main method. So int main, right? And then I create the block of the main method by using opening and closing curly bracket, right? So inside the main method, so first of all I create the variable say int I, right? In C programming, so actually at the top of the main method, or actually just once if you start the main method, or inside the top of the main method block, right? So we have to create all variables, and then if you have initialization value, so you have to initiate it, right? So in here just I create the variable, or we call declare the variable called I, and then I declare the for loop, right? For, and then I have already declared the variable called I, so therefore in here I can assign the value for the variable I. So I assign value 1 to the variable I, and then I include the uh, text expression of my for loop. So I include say I less than or equal 5 like this, and then put the semicolon, and then I put the increment, or the what you call the update statement, or we call in here I use the increment variable I. So if you want, you can use I plus plus, or you can use I plus 1, then assign to the variable called I, like this, right? So this is almost same to the I plus plus, right? So then I declare the body of the for loop, or we call block of the for loop block, and then in here first of all I print the value of variable I, like this. So this is, since I is integer variable, so I use the formatting say D, and then here I can put the variable I, and then this statement should be end up with semicolon, right? So actually once if you print the value I, then if you want to go to the move to the next line, you can put slash n in here, right? So for the time being I keep like this, then in later on I'll use that slash n, right? So then after the for loop, here I used say return statement, return 0, because the return type of the main method is integer. So therefore in here I return the value 0. Alright, so let's see by compiling this program. So we have to check whether if there are errors in here. If there is error, we have to correct it. Alright, go to execute and compile. Right, so in here there are no errors, right? Since there are no errors in here, so I can execute, I can run the program, right? Okay, now you can see, so here values from 1 to 5 are printed, 1 2 3 4 5. All right, so whole line, one particular line. So because in here I don't put the slash n, if you want you can keep space and put slash n. So once if you made modification to my program, again I have to compile it. Otherwise once if you run the program, this actually the now what is running, right? So now the earlier, that means before modification we have compiled the program, that compile program is executed right now, right? Once if you modify the program, or once if you made modification to my program, what I have to do, I have to compile it, right? Then I can run it. Okay, right now you can see, so this is the output 1 2 3 4 5, right? Now you know how it is execution, right? So here at the beginning the value 1 is assigned to the variable I, and then go to the expression or the test expression, and then this expression is evaluated. That is, now at the beginning I is 1, y 1 less than or equal 5, that is true. Then enter the body of the for loop, then this is executed, that is 1, and then go to the update statement, that is the value I is increment by 1, that is 2. Then move to the test expression, 2 less than 5, then here 2 is printed, 2, and then go to the update statement, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 less than or equal 5, that is true. Move to the print statement, then the value 3 is printed, then move to the update statement, 3 plus 1 is 4, then move to the test expression, 4 less than or equal 5, that is true. Then move to the for loop, inside the body of the for loop, then the value 4 is printed, and then here go to the update expression, 4 plus 1 is 5, then go to the test expression, 5 less than or equal 5, that is true. Then move to the for loop, that is print value I is 5, then 5 is printed, and move to the update statement, 5 plus 1 is 6. Move to the text expression, 6 less than or equal 5, evaluated, that is false. So therefore this for loop is terminated, or in other words, so this is exit from the for loop, right? So after the for loop there are no statements, so therefore this program will be terminated, right? So if there are any statement after the for loop, those are executed, right? Okay. Okay, that's how for loop is executed, right? So no need to print the value I. So if you want, you can just put the any message, right? So let's see another example, right? First of all, I include, say, standard input output file stdio.h, right? And then I create the main method, right? Okay. And then here again I use the same codes, right? So I declare the variable I and then use the for loop, right? So here I is equal, no need to put 1. So if you want, you can start from 5 to 10 or something like that. Just for the time being I use 1, and then I use, say, I less than or equal, say, 10. Then this loop is repeated 10 times, and then I say I increment by 1, I plus plus, alright. Okay, and then here I can print say any message. No need to print the value of I, right? So I can just say hello world, alright. Okay, and then here I can return 0, right? Then I save this one as for 2.c, right? Then I compile this, right? Then I can execute. Now you can see this message will be printed in one line, hello world, like that, right? So if you want to print this message line by line, you can put /n, and then I can, once if I made the modification, I have to compile this and then I can run it, right? So now you can see this message will be repeated in 10 times, right? So number of iterations are 10, right? So that means this loop is repeated 10 times. So if you want, you can just iterate at once, right? Starting from 1, I less than or equal 1. So here, if you want, you can print at once, right? Only 1, right? If you want, you can go to, say, 5, right? So number of iterations are depend on this expression. Or in other words, if you say I less than or equal 10, and then if you want, you can increment I not only by 1, we can increment I by 2, right? So now you know I start from 1, first expression is 1 less than 10, that is true, therefore this is printed, and then sorry, I less than or equal 10, that is 1 less than or equal 10, that is true, then this will be printed, and this is updated, 1 plus 2, that is 3, I is 3. Now I increment by 2, not 1, I is 3, 3 less than or equal 10, that is true, therefore this will be printed, and go to the R, right, that is go to the update statement. 3 plus 2, that is 5. Now I is 5. 5 less than or equal 10, that is true, therefore this will be executed. Then go to the R. 5 plus 2 is 7. 7 less than 10, that is true, then this statement will be printed. Alright, 7, and move to here. 7 plus 2 is 9. 9 less than or equal 10, that is true, again that is true, then this will be printed, and move to here. 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. 11 less than 10, that is false. So number of iterations are 4 or 5 or 4. Alright, so let's see. Compile this and run this. Now you can see, yeah, 5. Starting from 1, and 1 increment by 2, 3. 3 increment by 2, 5. 5 increment by 2, 7. 7 increment by 2, 9. Right? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Right? So if you want, you can print the value I. Right? So actually, once if you print value I, means it will be printed the all the odd numbers from 1 to 10. Odd numbers starting from 1. Right? Let's see. I save the same source code by using, say, 3.c. Right? So rather than hello world, so once if you print value I, so what will be printed? /n. So in here I print the value I. First of all, I is 1, increment by 2, that is 3. Again, this one is true, 3. Then 3 will be printed. Then increment by 2, that is 5. 5 will be printed. Then 5 increment by 2, 7. 7 will be printed. Then 7 increment by 2, 9. 9 will be printed. Then 9 increment by 2, that is 11. 11 less than or equal 10, that is false. Therefore, all the odd numbers between 1 to 10 will be printed. Alright, like this: 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Right? So likewise, you can print all the odd numbers from within one particular range. Right? So if you want to print say even numbers from 1 to 20, all the even numbers from 1 to 20, how can you print it? If you want to print all the even numbers from 1 to 20, right? Even numbers, right? So then I create a separate program. First of all, I import standard input and output file, and then say main method, main, right, and then block of main method, right. So I create variable called I equals, say, 0, right. Now what I want to print all the even numbers from 1 to, say, 0 to 20, right, including 0. So I starting from, say, I equals 0. So here I put I equals 0 because 0 is the first even number. Then I put I less than or equal to 20 because I want to print all the even numbers from 1 to 20. So first one is 0, the next one is 2. Then I should be increment by 2. Therefore I plus 2 assigned to the variable I, all the even numbers, right. So then I print value of I, so which is integer. Therefore I put integer format, and after the first every number I go to the next line, then variable I. Alright, okay. Then I return 0, then 0. Alright, so now I'm going to print, say, I'll save this one as, say, 4.c. This is the 4 program. Then I compile this and then run this. So these are the even numbers. Even number means number which is exactly divisible by 2. These are even numbers, 0, 2, 4, 6, likewise, right. So here what I have done, I increment the value I by 2, right? Increment I by 2 starting from 0. So if you start from 1, it will be print odd numbers. If you starting from 0, then we can have even numbers. So likewise you can do a lot of things using the for loop, right? A lot of things using the for loop, right? So if you want, you can take say 5 numbers and take the summation of those numbers, right? Likewise. So that's an interesting thing. So if you want to print the pattern like this, so if you want to print say asterisk symbol like this, right? So you know how to print it, right? So inside the printf function you can put asterisk symbol, right? So for the time being, I create say a new program, say include, and then standard input output file, right? And then int main method int main, and then create the block of the main method like this, right? And then create variable called I. Not only I, you can use a, b, or whatever variable. So for the time being, I use I, right? So right now what I want, so without I, so if I want to print say asterisk, you can use within the printf function, you can use the asterisk string, right? Right? So inside the for loop, we can use this printf function, right? So inside the for loop, say I equals say 1, and then I less than or equals say 5. I want to print 5 asterisk symbols, right? So like this asterisk, and then if I want to repeat this, I can repeat this like this, right? Asterisk 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 asterisk, right? So 1 6 5. So how can we do that? So here I increment I by 1, I increment by 1, right? Right. So inside the main, inside the for block, I can print asterisk symbol, right? Asterisk symbol like this, right? Right. And then here I can return URL, return 0, right? So what will happen? So I save this one as a, so these are star pattern, so I use say star 1.c, right? So this will be this will be printed 5 asterisk symbols, so like this, right? So 5 asterisk symbols like this. Now you can see 1 2 3 4 5, right? 5. So if you want to repeat this 5 asterisks in horizontally like this, horizontally, right? 5 asterisks horizontally, what I have to do, I have to repeat this set of statement, this set of statements 5 times. What I have to do, right now I have this particular message by using this set of codes, right? This code, right? So here if I want to do, if you want to print this particular asterisk pattern, this particular star pattern, so what I have to do, I have to repeat this particular pattern in 5 times in horizontally, that is line by line, right? So I have to repeat this particular statement or this set of codes in 5 times. So what can I do? I can use another for loop, say for. So therefore I have to use another variable. I use say j. So j is control the we call this outer for loop. J starting from 1, then what I want to repeat 5 times. So therefore I say less than or equal 5, and then j plus plus. So inside this for loop, what I want to do, I can insert this set of block inside the this for loop, right? So now I have two for loops, right? So this is called outer for loop, right? Which is controlled by variable j. So this is inner for loop. This is controlled by variable I, right? So this is repeat 5 times. This is also repeat 5 times. So if you want, you can repeat this one 3 times, right? That is, this set of codes are repeat the 3 times. So after printing first line, what I have to do, move to the next line. So after printing first line, I have to move to the next line. So this is the assume this is first line. So after printing this one, I have to move to the next line. So how can we move to the next line? By using slash n, like this, right? Okay, right now let's see what will happen, and then I'll explain how to execution of this loop, right? All right, so these are two integers, I and j, right? Then I compile this and execute. Now you can see. So this is what I need, right? So for the time being, I repeat so 3 times, right? So if you want, you can create declare these two variable in one line, say in I comma j, since there are no initialization as well, right? So you can create I and j like this. So this is outer for loop, this is inner for loop, right? So outer for loop controlled by variable j. So at the beginning I initialize the value 1 to the variable j, then j less than or equal 3. So this is 1, since this is 1, this is true. Then enter into the for loop, and then this will be executed, right? So at the first time I is 1, 1 less than 5, that is true, then there will this asterisk will be printed, and then likewise this is repeat 5 times, therefore so one asterisk line will be printed, and then move to the next exit from this loop, move to the this line, then so by using this line, what I have done, move to the next line of printing, go to there, right? Then go to the next iteration, next round of the for loop, we call iteration, next round of the for loop, that is iteration. Then the value I is assigned to the j, that is already done, and then here j is 1 update by increment by 1, that is 2, then 2 less than 3, that is true. Then again this one is evaluated, this one is executed, that is another line will be printed like this, another line will be printed in next line like this. Then by using this slash n, move to the next line, and then go to there. Now j is 2, 2 update by 1, do 2 increment by 1, that is 3, 3 less than or equal 3, that is true. Then inside the loop, then this one will be executed again. A set of asterisks or 5 asterisks are printed, and move to the next line, then go to there. Now j is 3, 3 increment by 1, that is 4, or 4 less than or 3, that is false, therefore exit from the outer loop, that is go to there. Then 3 asterisk lines are printed like this, 3 asterisk lines are printed. So likewise you can print asterisk patterns or this star patterns using 1 or 2 for loops, right? Okay, so that's about the star patterns, right? So those are some few of applications of for loops. So you can use for loops for the other applications as well, right? So now this one, next loop is while loop. While loop, let's see, while loop. Actually while loop repeatedly uh, execute statements as long as a given condition is true, right? So as long as the given condition is true, this loop will be executed, right? So this is the syntax. While you can insert the text expression, so then we can define the while body of the while loop, and then we can have any statement, right? Okay, the while loop evaluate the text expression inside the parentheses like this, right? And then if it is true, statements inside the body of the while loop are executed. So if it is true, so statements which are inside the while loop body are executed. Then the text expression is evaluated again. So if it is true, again this body of the while loop is executed, and then go to the text expression. So if it is false, then while loop is terminated, right? So if it is false, while loop is terminated, right? So this is the flow chart, right? Initial expression and then text. So here initialization expression will be placed before the while loop, that is before the this text expression line, right? And then move to the text expression. So if it is true, then while loop body is executed, and then move to the text expression, right? So if it is true, again while loop body is executed, and then go to the text expression. So until text expression is true, while loop body is executed, right? While loop body is executed. If it is false, then while loop is terminated, right? Okay, let's see how to use while loop, right? So in here, so this is my example. So at the beginning, I create a variable called a, declare variable called a from integer data type, and assign number 1, value 1 to the a. And then inside the while loop, right? So I have text expression called a less than or less than 5, not equal, a less than 5. And then, so if it is true, I print the value of a by using a printf command, and then I increment the value of a by 1, right? And then close the while loop body, right? So this is my program. So let's see how it is executed, right? So at the beginning, the create variable a and then assign value 1, right? So in here, so these are the memory table, right? So at the first round, or we call first iteration, value of a is 1, right? And then go to the test expression, that is a less than 5, right? So this is evaluated a less than 5, that is true. Therefore enter the inside the while loop body. So inside the while loop body, they output the value of a, so output value is 1. Then increment the value of a by 1. Now what is the value of a? That is 1. 1 increment by 1, or a plus 1 assigned to the a, that is 2, right? So after execution of this statement, the a will become value 2, and then move to the text expression again, right? So in second round, or we call in second iteration, or second round, so the term called iteration is used for the round. In second round, the value of a is 2. Then evaluate this expression, 2 less than 5, that is true. Then output the value of a, that is 2 will be output, and then the value of a will be increment by 1. So 2 plus 1 is 3, right? And then in third iteration, value of a is 3. Then expression is evaluated, 3 less than 5, that is true, right? And then the value of a will be output, that is output is 3. And then a increment by 1, 3 plus 1 is 4. And then move to the text expression, 4 less than 5, that is true, right? Then go to the output, and then output the value of a, that is 4. Then the 4 will be increment by 1, that is 5, right? And then go to the text expression. In the fifth iteration, value of a is 5. 5 less than 5, that is false, so therefore there is no output. The loop will be terminated, and then execution exit from the while loop, and then go to the end, right? So not the end, actually if there are any statements in after the for loop, those statements are executed. Okay, likewise the while loop is executed as long as this condition is true, right? So while loop is executed as long as this condition is true, right? So I'll move to the another example. Say while 2, right? So I take the same source code and then save, say while 2.c. So I save the same source code, say while 2.c, right? Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take input from the user, right? So I'm going to take integer input from the user, right? So for the time being I remove this, right? So I delete this, right? Okay, now I'm going to take integer input from the user, right? So I print a message, right? So enter number, enter number. So actually my aim is as long as user enters 0, uh, inputs are taken. Right, so as long as user enters 0, inputs are taken from the user. Right, so what that is, once user enter 0, the loop will be terminated. Right, okay. So this is a printf, right? Okay. Now I'm going to take this input to the variable I. So in order to take the input, I use scanf function, right? So since this is integer, I have to specify this is integer and take to the input into the variable I, right? And then I go to the define the while loop. So I, if I not equal 0, if it is not equal 0, I'll take the input from the user. That means as long as user enter 0, the inputs are taken, right? So once user enter 0, this loop will be terminated, right? So say once user input particular number, I'll print it, right? Okay, I'll print it. So since this is integer, I'll print integer. So say and then I'll go to the next line after printing the input. Input is in variable I. Okay, so once user take input the value, right? So here I'll take the input the value to the variable I, and then I'll check whether I is not equal 0. If it is not equal 0, the input value will be printed, right? And then so inside the loop I have to take the input from the user. Alright, so I'll copy the same statements, right here, print the message and take the input, right? So and then move to the evaluation of the expression, right? So if it is not equal 0, it will be printed and taken the input, right? And then again evaluate whether the input is not equal 0. If it is not equal 0, that output that input will be printed, right? So once user enters 0, then so 0 not equal 0, that is false, then this will be terminated, right? So if it is not equal 0, if it is not equal 0, these statements are executed. If it is equal 0, then exit from the loop, right? So finally I'll print the message, say bye, right? So this loop will be executed as long as this I is not equal 0. If it is equal 0, loop will be terminated. Now I compile this and then I execute. Right, now you can see enter number. So I'll enter 5, which is not equal 0. Therefore the 5 will be printed. 6 is not equal 0. Therefore 6 will be printed. Right, then I'll print say -8. -8 is not equal 0. Therefore -8 will be printed. So once if I enter 0, then loop will be terminated and exit from the loop, right? So here number of iterations are unknown. So number of iterations are depends on the what is the input from the user, right? So that is the special case of the while loop. In for loop, number of iterations are fixed. Number of iterations are known. We call number of iterations are known. But in here, we don't know how many iterations of this while loop, right? So number of iterations are unknown. So in this case, number of iterations are unknown, right? So it's depend on user input. In this case, it's depend on user inputs, right? So once user input 0, this loop will be terminated, right? So that is a special case of while loop, right? Okay, then next one is do while. So next loop is do while. So that is the final loop, that is the third loop, right? Do while loop more like a while statement, but except that it tests the condition at the end of the loop body, right? So in the while loop they test the expression at the beginning, but in do while loop the statement or the test expression evaluated at the bottom of the loop body. So this is the syntax. The first term is do. Do means do this, and then the set of statements or the while loop body, do while loop body actually, and then at the end of the loop while, and then there's the text expression. You have to include the text expression, and then the loop ending point represented by this semicolon. That is another special case, right? So this loop is end up with semicolon, right? Do while, do while. So at the end of this loop, this expression is evaluated, right? So the body of do while loops execute once. So that means at the beginning this body is executed, right? So before evaluate the expression, this body is executed, and then test the or then evaluate the expression, right? So it say then the test expression is evaluated. If test expression is true, then again the body loop will be executed, right? So body of the loop is executed again and test expression is evaluated, right? So this process goes until test expression become false, right? So this is repeated until test expression become false. So if test expression is false, then loop is terminated or loop ends. So this is the relevant flow chart: initialization expression, and then while loop body. So after the initialization, this loop body of the while loop is, or the body of the do while loop is executed, right? And then test evaluate the test expression. So if it is true, then again go to the body of the while loop, right? So again go to the body of the while loop, execute those statement, and go to the test expression. So if it is true, again go to the while loop body, and then execute those statement inside the body, and then move to the test expression. So if it is false, then loop will be terminated, right? So so this is one example of do while loop. So in here I declare variable called a, and then assign value 10 to the variable a, and do means so this is the starting point of the do while loop, right? And then the do while loop body, then print the value of a, and then increment value of a by 1, then test the evaluation, right? Test expression, then evaluate test expression a less than 15. Now at the beginning a is 10, 10 is printed, and a increment by 1, that is 11, 11 less than 15. Likewise they evaluate this. If it is true, again go to the loop body, and these statements are executed, right? So so I'll explain in here. So here value 10 assigned to the variable a. So at the beginning the value of a is 10, and go to the body of the while loop, then output the value of a, which is 10, and then go to the increment statement, then this is executed, then the value of a increment by 1, which is 11, and then evaluate the test expression, evaluate the test expression 11 less than 15. So that is true, that is true. Therefore this is go to the body of do while loop, that is here execute the print statement, right? Output the value of a, which is 11, right? And then execute the this statement a increment by 1, which is a will become 12, and then come to the test expression 12 less than 15, that is true, right? So goes to the do while loop, body of the do while loop, and then output the value of a, which is 12, and then 12 increment by 1, which is 13, right? And then go to the test expression 13 less than 15, that is true, right? Goes to the do body of do while loop, and then value of a is 13, right? Then output the value of a, which is 13, 13 increment by 1, that is 14, then 14 less than 15, that is true, then go to the body of do while loop, and then output the 14, and then 14 increment by 1, which is 15, 15 less than 15, that is false, that is false, right? So therefore end the do while loop, end the do while loop, right? So we can do this coding in div C++ software. First of all I'll include header file to standard input output header file, and then I insert the main method like this, and then this is the main method block. So Okay, first of all, I'll create a variable called integer I, and then I assign, say, value 10 for that, and then I start in the do while loop. So how to start do while loop? The term called do, and then this is the body of do while loop. So inside the do while loop, first of all, I'll print the value of variable I, right? So which is integer. So therefore, I put the format of integer, that is colon t, and then slash n for go to the next line after printing the value of I. So then I put variable I, alright, and then increment the value of I by 1. So if you want, you can use I plus plus or I equal I plus 1, and then after the loop body I have to include the test expression. Alright, so while, and then test expression is, in my case, I put say I less than 15. Right, so especially after the while loop, here we have to use a semicolon. So in here we have to use a semicolon, right? So then if you want to, you can print message, right? In my case I print say bye, right? So if you want, actually beginning of this before the loop, you can print a message as well. So in here I can use say hello, right? Likewise. So then you will realize starting point and ending point of the program, right? Then I save this one as the do while one, right? Do while one dot c, right? Okay, and then I compile this. All right, so here we can check, since there is no error, I can execute it. Okay, in here you can see yeah, actually after printing hello, here I don't include this go to next line slash n, so that's why this 10 is in here. If you want, you can do that, right? So after printing the message hello, you can use the slash n to go to the new line, otherwise line one line, right? So here I have to compile, and then after compiling it I can run it, right, like this. So let's see how it is executing. So first of all, actually it is starting from here, line number 4. Then here we create a variable called integer I, and then the number 10 is assigned to the variable I, and then print the message called hello. Yeah, that message will be printed, and then it actually in here you can see that the message, and then go to the do while loop. Since there is no test expression, just enter the loop body do, and then print the message variable I. So in print message print, and then actually that message is value of I. So first of all, value of I is 10, and then in here increment the value of I by 1, that is 11, and then here we have a test expression, right? So I less than 15. Now the value of I is 11 less than 15, 11 less than 15, that is true. Therefore again they enter to the while loop body and print the value of I, which is 11, and then the value of I increment by 1, that is 11 increment by 1 means 12. Then the test expression 12 less than 15, that is true. Again go to the inside the while loop, and then 12 will be printed, and then the 12 increment by 1, which is 13. Then the test expression is 13 less than 15, that is true. Then again enter to the loop body, then 13 will be printed, then 13 increment by 1, that is 14. Then the text expression is 14 less than 15, 14 less than 15, which is true, and then enter to the while loop, then that 14 will be printed, then 14 increment by 1, which is 15, 15 less than 15, then the test expression is 15 less than 15, which is false. Therefore exit from the loop, then they go to the line number 10, print by, right? So that's the end of this program, right? So that's how this program is executing, right? So now you can compare the execution of while loop and the do while loop. execution of while and do while loop. So for that, in here in my presentation I have uh, two program, right? So actually let's see how it is executing. So in here I have a program. So here we have variable called a, and then a is 1, and then the text expression is a less than 1. Then here I print the value of a increment by 1, and then here this is the end of this program. Here also the same source code, right? So that is same text expression with same value initialization, right? So let's see what will happen in here, right? So in here I write two programs, right? The comparison of while and do while loop, right? So I'll create two separate programs, right? So for the time being I just create that, right? Include standard input output header file, right? First of all I'll create the program of while loop, right? So this is the main method in main, right? Okay, then first of all I'll create a variable called say integer I, which is assigned by value 1, and then the while loop, and then test expression I less than 1, I less than n, and then print uh, the value of I, alright. Okay, then just I print the value of I, and then after printing it I increment the value of I by 1, right? So it's better to print two message before the while loop and then after the while loops. So in here I print hello, alright, and then after the while loop I'll print say bye, right? So which will realize the starting point and the ending point of this loop, right? So this is my first program, that is a while loop. So here I put say while compare with do while, right? While compare dot c, alright. Okay, then I use the same source code with the do while loop, right? So I'll create another program, but in here I use a do while loop. That means in here we have to put the term called do, right? So just I'll delete this do, and then end of this loop I'll use the test expression I less than 1 with the semicolon of ending loop, right? So in here I'll save this one, say do while, sorry, do while comparison dot c, right? So you can use any file name, right? So in here what will happen? So in here I starting from 1, right? And then here we print the message hello, and then enter the loop, but in here test expression is I less than 1. Now the current value of I is 1, then the expression is 1 less than 1, 1 less than 1, right? So the 1 less than 1 is false, because here I is 1, expression is 1 less than 1, that is false. So therefore they never enter to the while loop, right? So these statements are not executed. Then go to the line number 11, then they print by, right? So in here we have only these two messages, because since this expression is I less than 1, the value of I is 1, then they after evaluating this expression, that is false, therefore they never entered to the while loop body, right? So then print the message by, right? So that is exit from the while loop at the first iteration, right? So the first iteration is not executed, so there is no iterations in while loop, right? So let's see. First of all I have to compile this, okay, then I have compiled. Since there is no error I can run this, right? So you can use hello then the bye, right? So since there is no go to next line, next command, so both messages are in one line. If you want, you can put /n, right? Then you can compile and run, right? So here you can see hello and then bye, only these two messages are printed. So let's see how it is executing in a do while loop, right? So in do while loop, so in here start the program. Here I'll create a variable called I, and the value 1 is assigned to the variable I, and then there is a message called hello, right? So it will be printed. So in here also I can put this slash n to go to the next line, and then starting the words do, right? Then they enter to the body of do while loop, then they print value of I. So at the beginning value of I is 1, then the value 1 is printed, right? So then the value of I will be incremented by 1, right? Then it will become 2, right? Then the value of I is 2, then go to the test expression. This test expression will be evaluated, right? So here 2 less than 1, right? The expression is 2 less than 1, then it will become false, right? So it is false, so therefore they exit from the loop. They exit from the loop. But this loop is executed for the first iteration, right? Because so at the beginning of this loop there is no the test expression. So after exiting after exit this loop, this by message will be printed. So let's see. All right, so compile it and then run it, right? So in here you can see the message hello is printed, then the value of I print in here, and then this message by has been printed, right? So in here after printing the value of I, you can put slash n, otherwise all the value and then that by message in same line, right? So in here, yeah, now you can see the message hello is printed, and then the value of I is printed, and then the message by is printed, right? So in do while loop, so one iteration is executed, because so in here, so at the beginning we don't have a test expression, so at the bottom of this or the after the loop we have a expression, right? So that's what the difference between while and do while loop. In here what we can uh, take the what you call difference between while and do while loop. In do while loop, if it is if the even this text expression is false at the first iteration, so this loop is executed at least one iteration, right? So in here I is 1, the expression is I less than 1, right? So even in first test condition is false, so this loop has been iterated at once, right? Because this test expression is after the loop, right? So we can guarantee that in do while loop the loop is executed at least one iteration, even test condition is false, right? Even first test condition is false, the loop is executed at least one iteration. So that's the difference between while and do while loop, right? So you can do this program and then compare these two, and then you will realize what is the difference between while and do while loop, right? So what you have to do, the all the programs that I have demonstrated in here, and then you can get a better idea about this these concepts, right? Okay, thank you very much.